So this instrument can be used to discover the golden ratio around you, but it can also be used to design things, whatever you make, using the golden ratio, wherever you have that opportunity. So perhaps you're a web designer, you could hold this up to the screen and make creative decisions. Perhaps you're a gardener and you want to proportion your flower beds using this. You can just hold it up at arm's length and look at your garden and line things up in that way. Maybe you're a painter or a sculptor. You can use it to enhance the aesthetic appeal of your creations by making them resonate with the as above, so below, thereby getting in tune with the natural world. So the golden ratio is widely considered to be one of the most amazing numbers in math. But you don't have to necessarily understand the math behind it to use it. That's why I made this instrument, so that you could use the golden ratio in your life. The golden ratio is widely considered to be tied in with aesthetics. And it took a Renaissance genius, Leonardo da Vinci, to realize this. See, the golden ratio was described mathematically by Euclid about 2,000 years ago. But it took a genius like Leonardo to realize that this mathematical relationship is actually essentially the Hermetic concept of as above, so below. Because the whole is to the larger in exactly the same ratio as the larger is to the smaller. So in that mathematical description is essentially an as above, so below. So Leonardo realized that philosophically it was important. But it turns out that this ratio is really tied in with our perception of beauty. And I actually wrote a book about how Leonardo used this proportion to structure his artwork. And I believe that that's why we find his artwork so incredibly beautiful, because it resonates with this mathematical ratio. Essentially, he started with science, and then he built his art on top of that. And so a lot of corporate logos are designed using the golden ratio. Credit cards are golden rectangles. So you probably have one on you right now without even realizing it. In fact, that's part of the beauty of it. You don't have to cognitively understand the golden ratio to actually be moved by it, because the golden ratio is part of our eyes. It's part of the way that we perceive light. The primary colors of light, in fact, are in a golden relationship with one another, red, green, and blue. We've chosen those primaries because those are the cones that we have in our eyes that we perceive light by. It's also part of our bodies and part of our DNA. It's really uncanny where the golden ratio shows up. So please support this campaign. This is really a beautiful instrument. It's also really fun to play with, to fiddle with it, to fidget with it. It has a kind of hypnotic effect. It's a unique form of aesthetic therapy, essentially.